Welcome to the craziest home I've ever seen and filmed. I can't wait to show it to you, so let's go dive into the Dragon House. This house is called Dragon House, and you'll see why. The reason is that we have an incredible amount of dragons here and there throughout the entire design. And I already mentioned that this home is the craziest one I've ever seen, and once we go inside, you'll see why. It is the biggest bedroom I've ever seen by far, and I couldn't imagine a better feeling than waking up here in the morning, overlooking your own private little river. This home sits right in the middle of the jungle in Ubud on Bali, the center of a very spiritual community, and I believe that this spirit is also really reflected within this house. The home itself has around 750 square meters, so it is gigantic, and we are already standing in the main area. And once you come inside, you just see this vast expansion of space, because the center of the design that I will show you in a second actually consists of 2 full stories. Now, because this home is built on Bali in Southeast Asia, the weather is very warm. It's raining right now, but still, it's a very tropical and warm climate. And so to both sides, the house is actually completely open and there aren't any doors or walls. And over here to my left, we already have the center of the entire design, which excites me the most, and I can't wait to show it to you. And that is that the open living room is just one large open space with windows from 3 sides that just frame the incredible room. And also the windows are actually 2 stories high, so you almost have this kind of like atrium. And later I'll show you the upper floor where you could actually look through the bedroom down into your living room. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And of course, we post a lot more interior design content on our Instagram. And he built this house in 2018, and the goal was to combine 2 different concepts within this house. So on the one hand, to make it seem like a rune within the jungle that's always been here. And then on the other hand, to still have a very strong connection to light and to this like upward movement within the design. Here in the living room, we can see this perfect symbiosis of these 2 themes, because the wooden floor is very dark. It has this dark brown, almost black color. But then to all 3 sides of the living room, we have these gorgeous glass windows that go up all the way to the top. And the wooden frames for the glass are all also a little bit tilted, so it just feels very natural. And you just have this gorgeous jungle coming in from all 3 sides. All of the furniture is quite low and very unique, but to still have a sense of cohesion within this crazy design, all of the larger sofa elements are kept and upholstered in this green forest velvety color, and so they really just create a sense of cohesion. And then we have these really cool small orange that remind me of pumpkins, just splattered and distributed throughout the design, and it just feels really bohemian. Comment if you like this design or not. I think it's super cool. And then over here on this side of the living room, instead of having your regular TV set up, you actually have something, to me, that looks kind of like an altar. We have a lot of different religious sculptures from different religions, and you just see a lot of spiritual references. I also love this really large wooden box where we have this gorgeous popping orange sculpture placed on top. And this is also something that a lot of people get wrong, because when they pick their sculptures, they mostly go a bit too small because they're a bit shy. But this is just a very appropriate size for such a big living room. And then as a focal piece of the design, we have this tall wooden hand-carved Balinese door that also just really creates this like visual depth. And what I love so much about the space is that it is just so deeply layered with personal and unique items, that we actually have mirrors in almost every direction you look. And so the entire design just gets this like almost 4th dimension. Now please follow me to the kitchen. Let me quickly take you back a few steps, namely to my arrival on Bali. Now I'm already on the way to the airport, and I know that once I will arrive on Bali, I will have to get a SIM card to get to my accommodation. And of course, I have the possibility of queuing up in a really long line where I would probably get a really bad deal. Now this is where the hero of this trip comes in, Saily, the sponsor of today's video. To avoid the horror scenario I just described at the airport, I'm going to download the Saily app on my smartphone. Next, I'm going to select my data plan for Indonesia. Of course, I'm going to apply the coupon InteriorInsights to get an exclusive price and 15% off, of course. And just like that, I had my mobile data for my Bali trip and I was able to find my way to my first accommodation without any problem. And that's my secret and how I avoid all the long lines at the airport, never get ripped off by a SIM card provider, and also get an unbeatable transparent price. Oh, and one benefit that I almost couldn't believe is that Saily has a built-in ad blocker that stops browser ads from loading, and this can actually save over 28% off your mobile data. So go and get Saily right now for your current or upcoming trip and use my code InteriorInsights for 15% off. Thank me later. Now over here we have the kitchen area, and it is also a super gorgeous kitchen, and that is very unconventional. As a base, we have this incredible hand-carved stone sculpture that is also very typical of Bali and the Balinese craftsmanship. For the countertop, we have a green slab of stone that also really speaks to this green emerald color palette that is also, of course, pulled from the gorgeous, lush, dense tropical jungle from the outside. And then opposing the kitchen island, we have a kitchen niche that is also completely clad in these gorgeous timber wooden panels that just creates this very warm and intimate design. Let's do a quick layout analysis of this crazy yet incredible home. Now, one thing that I really love about the layout and that people often get wrong is that these sofas are actually not pushed against the wall, but that there actually is all of this beautiful breathing space around them. The sofas seem to be floating, which improves circulation and makes the room feel much larger. If you've ever felt like something's off in your own home, but you can't explain why, I put together a completely free layout cheat sheet that you can use in your own home to improve the balance, flow, and how your space actually feels. It's completely free, the link's in the description, or you can just scan the QR code. And to be honest, this home really feels like it's been here forever, because the entire structure of the house is covered with this gorgeous dark stone, and so it almost feels kind of like a small ruin. Because we have all of these like gorgeous openings and large glass fronts, the house still feels very airy and bright. And once we come outside, over here we actually have the dining area. So over here we have a large wooden table with simple wooden chairs, and you can just take in the gorgeous outside. And over here, we actually have the pool area, which is also really cool because we just have this like infinity pool that goes over and lets you see through the entire jungle. And over here is actually one of the many dragon sculptures that we have, and it is also just created from one large slab of wood, and it is just so beautiful. It is really unique. I didn't tell you this before, but this house actually has 4 stories. So let's go and take a look upstairs before we then go downstairs. Because there is so much space over here, we have a second dining area, and that is of a small circular glass table that just creates this very airy and bright design. And then over here, while entering the house on both sides, we have these incredible Balinese sculptures of 2 warriors. And they just have this beautiful patina of the paint. Now let's go upstairs. Now the pathways of the house are both to the right and to the left side. Here we have a small hallway. Over here is a bathroom. And here is actually a TV room hiding that I'll show you in a second. But here, when we go up these stairs, we come to the upper floor. You will not believe the size of this bedroom. It is the biggest bedroom I've ever seen by far. The entire upper floor consists only of the bedroom. And so this really is the prime example of a primary ensuite bedroom. We have the bed that is just standing in this really large, generous room. The room itself is already much bigger than most of the typical living rooms, which is just crazy. And for the headboard, we also have this gorgeous, like wooden Balinese hand-carved structure that just creates 3 natural arches, and it is just so beautiful. I've never seen anybody use these more traditional hand-carved arches as backdrops for beds. It is really cool, and it just naturally perfectly frames the 2 bedside tables as well as the bed. And you can really see that even though the size of this house is out of the ordinary and very luxurious, the design is still very raw and down to earth and deeply connected to the area and the country that we are in. The entire house is filled with very eclectic, almost like shamanic art. We We have a small writing desk where you can sit and drink a cup of coffee in the morning or get some work done, and it is also completely carved from hand and is just another example of this incredible Balinese craftsmanship. Now this is already what I previously hinted at, and that here we are actually overlooking our entire living room, and we even have a small balcony. And isn't this just so incredible? So over here from our balcony we can look down into the living room, and also we have a 360-degree view of the incredible jungle and its surroundings. But of course, because this is a bedroom, you can close the glass sliding doors and then you just have this visual privacy. Comment below if you'd like a bedroom like this or not. I'm interested to find out. Over here we actually have a more classical furniture element, and this sofa lounge bed is actually called chaise longue. We actually have a beautiful rock crystal paired with gorgeous antiques, and I love that here we don't have this like luxurious golden frame for the art, but it is actually made from like driftwood that has been found on the beaches, and it just looks absolutely incredible. Now of course we also have our own walk-in closet. It consists of this room, and all of the wooden panels are also hand carved with this gorgeous Balinese floral patterns, and then to both sides we have these two small niches with mirrors so that you can get ready during the day. And then over here on the opposite side of the stairs, the bathroom is actually hiding, and this is also just such a creative and unique expression of a bathroom. You can see we have all of these unique sculptures. One of my favorite elements of this bathroom actually is this beautiful little table mirror composition that just helps you get ready. We have a massive freestanding marble bathtub that just also has this really like raw and rough energy. I already mentioned that the architect Alexis Dornier really also wanted to connect this house to light and to this like upward movement. And so for the roofs, we actually have 5 different roofs that are being connected through glass. And so we actually have these gorgeous little light shafts above us that just fill the space with light. Instead of a regular vanity, we actually have an incredible antique Balinese sideboard. And on top of it, we have 2 sinks that are made from raw slabs of marble. It is absolutely beautiful. To this side, we have the shower. The other side, we have the toilet. But what I think is also really cool is that downstairs, there actually is a koi pond and a little waterfall. And this is just what creates this beautiful water immersed sound experience. I really like it. And like the rest of the house, also the bathroom isn't completely covered with windows, but we have all of this like natural open spaces that just let the outside come in, and that just really lets us experience the vast nature of Bali. Now we are back on the main floor, and before I show you the 2 floors below us, over here we have a second, more intimate living room, and that is over here. It is a bit more cozy. There only are 2 sides of this living room covered with glass, and so it just naturally feels a bit more intimate, a bit more cozy. And I think it is really interesting to just see how different a space can feel depending like on its size. Also depending how open it is or not. And over here we can actually look into our own koi pond, which is really cool because it just really adds this new layer of nature and of water. And here we have a really cool lamp. To me, it kind of looks like a jellyfish because it has all of these strings to it, and it just really pops because of its orange color. Now, I could get lost forever in the details of this house, so let's go and take a look at the lower floors. We have the second hallway that spans from the entry of the house all the way down into the lower bedrooms. This house actually has 4 bedrooms, and we've looked at 1 so far, so stay with me. Now on this floor we have 2 bedrooms. Now this is the first room in the lower floor, and it is actually a full ensuite bedroom with its own little living room area. And here again we can just see this mix of different cultures and design influences. So for once we have these Balinese doors put against the wall, and they create this incredibly rich and layered backdrop. It's really interesting. And then we have all of these like terracotta and coral colors and linens and fabric, and they really remind me of India. And over here we have the bedroom, and the headboard also consists of one Balinese hand-carved sculpture. And in the center of the headboard we actually have a small picture of David Bowie, and I think that this is just so cool because it is just this juxtaposition of this like antique craft and modern or semi-modern pop culture. Like in the rest of the house, also this room is filled with incredible art, very shamanic and very spiritual. Over here we have the vanity and the sink, and everything is also made from different antiques layered on top of each other. We actually have an outdoor bathtub situation. Please follow me. And I think it is really interesting that they actually put the bathroom here because it's kind of an uncomfortable situation. Up here we have the structure from the staircase that leads us down. But of course, when you're taking a bath, you don't necessarily need so much height. And another small detail that is quite cool is that from your bed you can actually see who is in the pool or if there's somebody swimming in the pool, because we actually have this like window on one of the walls of the pool. Now let's go into the next bedroom that is over here. Now this bedroom is much smaller than the previous two. Over here we already have our built-in custom wardrobe, and then here we already come to the bedroom area. And for the headboard we also have a traditional Balinese wooden carved door, but this time in blue. And it just adds this gorgeous pop of color and just immediately sets the tone for the entire room. And now this is again one of those niches where people often don't know what to do because it is kind of like an awkward space, but we just have this incredible Chinese sculpture placed on top of it, and it also just adds this blue accent that perfectly goes with the color palette. To the side we have the bathroom, and the bathroom is like all of the other ones, made from all of these gorgeous natural materials, raw stone, antique wood. It is beautiful and very natural. Over here we also have our terrace that is overlooking the entire jungle, but downstairs the terrace is much crazier because it actually looks right at the river. So let's go and check out the one below. Now we are actually at the lowest floor, and on this floor there is one bedroom hiding as well as a really cool terrace. So this room is also really simple, and now let me show you the terrace that I've been hinting at. And now just take a look at this incredible terrace. I can directly see the river, and you just really get a feel for this house. The house was actually also constructed as kind of a bridge house because we have all of these different layers. And I couldn't imagine a better feeling than waking up here in the morning, drinking your cup of coffee, overlooking your own private little river, and just being immersed and surrounded by the gorgeous jungle of Ubud in Bali. And to me personally, because I also partly grew up on Bali as a child, there's nothing more comforting than listening to all of these incredible jungle sounds. Go and get Saily right now for your current or upcoming trip and use my code InteriorInsights for 15% off. Thank me later. If you need more inspiration, we have lots of other apartments filmed